Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of 365 Days of Gaming. Really appreciate you taking time to check out this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Greatly appreciate it, so thank you in advance. Now, a lot of these games on the list are lesser known, but I do play some AAA titles, so it's time we start knocking some of those down as well. So let's talk about one of those, God of War. Now, we're also gonna do Dad of War at some point, but I wanted to show the origins of the franchise, and also I wanted a chance to go back and play it because it's been a while since I played the original God of War. If you are unfamiliar, Kratos is essentially, he is given certain strength from Ares. He, was had his family killed tragically. That's why he's got the white skin. That's the ashes from his family. And he does the behest of Ares, basically fighting and killing on his behalf. But then he decides to take a different path, and he has to go against the person who gave him all of his powers, and that evolves into a whole nother thing. But just talking about when this game first came out, like, it was a hit immediately, but also not the standard bearer for action adventure games that it later became. I remember Ronnie was actually the first person to put me on to this. He was talking about this game, God of War, and I was just like, that's kind of a weird title, but also like, Greek mythology stuff, I'm here for it. And he's like, well, it's not actually like, the normal Greek mythology stories. It's kind of, they made up a character, but it's really good. The action and stuff is really brutal. And, I seen it in magazines, but never really like gave it much thought. It's like, new extreme edgy guy. But one of the things I realized when I actually played this game is it's really, really, really smooth. Like, there's a reason why it became such a well-known game, and the franchise, as it evolved and grew and production values get higher. But like, just the first game alone, like, it plays really, really well. The combo system is very easy to get into, and obviously there's so much you can do later as you get new abilities and weapons and things like that. But just starting a new game on this, it's like, okay, yeah, you know what, this makes a lot of sense. There's some things in the God of War franchise, especially in the beginnings, that I had issues with. Sometimes I felt like the nudity was just unnecessary, but also I get it. But the actual gameplay, it did set itself apart as far as the fluidity and the ease of it, and then the storytelling, the presentation, all of those things. Like, it's very brutal, and you kind of see that early on into the game, and then he kind of just keeps going, and it's always something where you'll notice just like the goriness of it, but that's a part of the setting. The brutality of not only Kratos but everybody else involved is a big selling point for a lot of people. But then it has things that always just make games better, right? You get the souls, and the more souls you get, you can level up your equipment. Like, the game came out and basically started challenging the likes of the Devil May Cry's and the Legend of Zeldas as far as the action adventure kings. And I mean, hey, there's a reason why we had so many entries to the series. And even though the new games don't necessarily play like the original ones, the influence is still there. The brutality is still there, and it was all based on this first game. Just the puzzle solving aspect, which sometimes is annoying, but also like having boss fights that have you do more than just one thing. It's really, really, really good. And sometimes it can bite you. Sometimes you mess up and you get knocked off the level, and the boss recharges all their life and everything, and that's on me. But when everything is working, you feel like the God of War. I know, pun intended. But it's just, this is a game that I don't have to explain too much. If you know, if you don't, you're probably never going to get around to it. If I'm the voice that tells you to play the God of War series, then by all means, you should play the God of War series. But either way, I know that most of you have played this game. When it first came out, what were your thoughts? Were you immediately blown away, or did you take some time to come around like me? I used to pretend like I was a gaming snob, but then, if you give me the controller and you sit me down and let me play, I'm going to play it and I'm going to enjoy it. And that's kind of what happened with God of War. And obviously when the second one comes out, everybody's ready. The anticipation is much higher. So wanted to set the tone by showing you where it all started. Either way, I appreciate you letting me reminisce with you. Y'all have fun. Y'all be safe. Peace.